Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another interesting webinar series. This is the third webinar series that we will be organizing, and it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ejiro Ekpogbe, and today we'll be having a webinar on the topic Born to Build, Unlocking Entrepreneurial Potential and Achieving Business Mystery. And I have a wonderful um, sister here with me. She will be doing justice to this topic because she has extensive background and experience in entrepreneurship. So without further ado, I'm going to delve into the program proper. I'm going to start by introducing um, the organizers of this program. So this program is a part of my YouTube program called The Life of a Christian with Ejiro Ekpogbe. So The Life of a Christian with Ejiro Ekpogbe is a Christian YouTube program created to bring the message of hope and encouragement through Jesus Christ to our fellow brethren. You would agree with me that as individuals, our lives are characterized with so many issues and struggles that stem from different areas of our lives: social, physical, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, and so on. There are so many issues that you would, that you would definitely find, when you talk about the human person. And so on this platform, The Life of a Christian, we share our personal stories, our struggles, and our triumphs, our testimonies. And we do this to encourage our fellow brethren who may also be going through theirs, because you will also agree with me that life is made up of seasons. There are different seasons in a person's life. And when, for instance, I'm going through a good season, my brother, my sister out there might be going through a tough season. And so we need each other. We need to help and encourage each other so that, collectively we can triumph in our different seasons of life. So we also share stories from the Holy Bible, and we learn from the lives of men and women of God who also experienced struggles during their lifetime and they triumphed. Jesus Christ told us in the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verse 33, that in this world we will definitely have struggles, trials, tribulations, and so on. But he said to us, take courage. And why? Because he has overcome the world. And that is what we preach, through this platform. So what is our message? Our message via this platform is that the solution to all of life's struggles lies in Jesus Christ. He is our Lord, He is our Savior. He gives us peace when we choose to trust, surrender, and walk with Him. Stories from the Bible are testimonials that our God never forsakes, never fails, never disappoints. So our lives too can be testimonials to this. And that's why we need each other. That's why we are here to encourage and support each other so that we too can be testimonies, to what the Lord does in our lives. Jesus Christ has overcome the world, and we too can through Him and with Him. So our message is take courage. I encourage you to visit our YouTube channel and subscribe, because we upload videos every Sunday evening where we talk about these issues, right? So that's the link to our YouTube channel. So like we do via the platform or via the YouTube program, where I said we discuss life issues. You will agree with me that one of the issues that, brothers, Christians, not just Christians, but everyone, is how do they make a living? How do we survive on this earth? How do we live? How do we earn income? How do we sustain ourselves, our lifestyle, and all of that? So some people, they get jobs, but then again, the salary they get from their jobs are not enough to sustain them. And so they think about entrepreneurship. For some people, they feel they're not even cut out for paid employment. They want to venture into entrepreneurship. So how do they even begin? How do we start a business? What profitable business idea can I, come up with so that I can, succeed in life? What do I do? How do I begin? How do I sustain the business? A lot of, you know, issues around entrepreneurship. And it's for this reason we're having this session today. So, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to introduce to you our guest speaker who will be doing justice to today's topic. We're discussing entrepreneurship and everything entrepreneurship. Our speaker today is Dr. Glory Enyinnaya. She is the industrious business leader who founded Cleos Advisory Africa to support entrepreneurship in the continent. She holds a first-class honors degree in accounting, an MBA from Lagos Business School, and a PhD in management from Pan Atlantic University. And she specializes in strategic management and entrepreneurship. As she strives for social transformation through technology, she has taken courses offered by Stanford University, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and Wharton Business School to improve her understanding. The Global MBA Association recognized her as one of the top 6 best MBA students in the world, and she was the first African to serve on the governing board of the Global Business Honors Society called Beta Gamma Sigma. Dr. Glory Enyinnaya has worked with large organizations such as Accenture, but since 2016, she has worked to establish her company, Cleos Advisory Africa. The platform, since its inception, has created meaningful links between experienced consultants and owners of small and medium-sized enterprises. And through its partnership with banks, has also advised thousands of African entrepreneurs. The vision of our company is to ultimately improve quality of life for Africans, and its great work has been recognized by the Global MBA Association as one of the top 50 MBA stories worldwide, and as a finalist in the 2017 Africa Entrepreneurship Award. Dr. Glory Enyinnaya is a PROCI certified change manager as well as a certified business coach, and has a partnership with eScan in Netherlands to develop entrepreneurship skills. She is a writer who contributes to publications such as Harvard Business Review and has co-authored book chapters published by Routledge and IGI Global in 2019 and 2021, respectively. She's also an international speaker who has graced podiums across the world. And she is a teacher, educating students at the Pan Atlantic University's Lagos Business School on the course E-commerce and Platform Strategy. She has an unparalleled passion for female empowerment and serves as a mentor to female entrepreneurs, encouraging and assisting them to achieve their goals. She was the first program manager for the African Women Entrepreneurship Cooperative and kickstarted the growth of a Pan-African community of women entrepreneurs by training hundreds of women entrepreneurs. She is involved in other women empowerment programs, mentoring female business owners by participating in initiatives of the Cherry Blair Foundation. She leads Africa, Flourish Africa, Adoza Finance, and Grow Movement, among others. She also helps entrepreneurs to access funds through her partnership with Business Impact Advisory in Ghana and advises startups as a regional partner for Faster Capital. She is also on the board of the Nigerian chapter of the Global Association of Change Management Professionals, Dominican College, and 2 e-commerce companies. She's lauded as one of the most inspiring women in Nigeria and as an advocate for a better world. Dr. Glory Enyinnaya is shaping the technological and business landscape for social change. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to make welcome Dr. Glory Enyinnaya. And to do that, I want you to use any of the emojis you can find on this platform. Just, maybe you use the hand, you use the thumbs up. Please join me to welcome Dr. Glory Enyinnaya. Glory, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you here. We are so delighted to have you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Ejiro. Hello, everyone. Compliments of the season. I hope you're having a wonderful Christmas holiday, and it's a pleasure to meet you and share a few nuggets from my journey with you.
Thank you. So we're going to delve into the program proper. Considering that time is fast spent, you started Clio's Advisory Africa, as in that is your baby. Please tell us about Clio's Advisory Africa.
Okay, all right. Thank you for the question. Right. So I know people learn in different ways. Some people are audio learners, while others are visual learners. So I will be sharing my slides, a few slides to take you through the Clio story. Yeah, please let me know when you can see my screen.
We can see your screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Great. Okay, great stuff. Okay, so Clio's was birthed while I was studying for an MBA at Lagos Business School, and it was created in response to the need for management consulting services at the bottom of the pyramid. So prior to this, like Ejiro mentioned, I started my career at Accenture. So I used to work for blue chip companies, the government, the World Bank, FMCG, oil and gas, like large scale companies. But then during my MBA, I became more attuned to the needs of the environment, which is one of the things that I mentioned is key as an entrepreneur. You can't just be in your own bubble the way an employee would be just following policies and procedures. It needs to be open to environments to identify needs in the environment. So I was able to identify that there's a gap in the sense that small and medium enterprises don't have access to management consulting services. And as a result of that, the growth of these companies has been compromised. And that gave me the idea for Clio's. So our values are, the acronym for our values are spirit. So S for service, P for professionalism, I for innovation, R for resourcefulness, I for entrepreneurship, and T for trustworthiness. So like I said, in a nutshell, spirit. So we have, to help us achieve our vision, we have strategic partnerships with international brands such as the International Business Accelerator in the US, Entrepreneur Scan in the Netherlands, and Faster Capital in Dubai. Our partners have a track record of helping businesses succeed both locally and internationally. So what do we do? So as a consulting entity, we provide several services. Global market entry. If your company is trying to access the US market, we help you do that through our partnership with the International Business Accelerator. We have a platform as well, a consulting platform. If any of you have heard of Fiverr or Freelancer, like an online platform where you can access people to help you with whether your business plans, your digital marketing, or thereabouts. So we have that platform called Clio's Africa. Investment readiness. If you're trying to access funding, we can help with that. We offer business clinics. A clinic is like a one-on-one session where you meet it, just like if you're ill, you go to meet a doctor. So through our clinics, you meet our consultants who act like SME doctors and give you advice on how to solve your business problems. content development. We develop content for our partners, our banking partners. Business planning. So if you're starting a new business or you want to grow your business, we'll help you with business plans. SME education, that's a huge one. And I'm going to talk a lot more about this later in the session. Entrepreneurial profile assessment. Entrepreneurial profile assessment. So we provide assessments of your entrepreneurial skills. If you want to start a business, through our partnership with Entrepreneur Scan in the Netherlands, you can take a test that will tell you what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses as an entrepreneur, and then come up with a roadmap to improve your skills. Capital raising, obviously, if you're trying to access capital, we can help you. Speaking engagements, we do a lot of that. And then product development and ideation. So we worked with companies in different industries, financial services, energy, the social sector, consumer goods, education, media, and telecommunications. So what's the team? Who comprises the team? There's myself as the founder and CEO. We have John Paul Maleb, who is one of our independent consultants. He manages our team of 50 consultants. We actually have 50 consultants from within and outside Nigeria. We have consultants from Mexico, the US, Spain, Canada, and so on. So John Paul manages them. Shoma Onigwe is our technology consultant. She manages our extensive technology infrastructure. Chisom Ezioke is the head of marketing and sales. And then Bayo Ogunisi is our project manager and principal consultant. So who are our partners? We work mainly with banks in Nigeria, the leading banks in Nigeria. Through them, we've been able to access and touch the lives of thousands of entrepreneurs in Nigeria. So Access Bank, UBA, Keystone Bank, FCMB, Wema Bank, FSDH, and so some other household names. We also internationally work with entrepreneurship development corporations such as Faster Capital in Dubai, the International Business Accelerator in the US, Entrepreneur Scan in the Netherlands, Central Community Partners in California, and so on. So I think I should stop. Okay. Well, we have an e-learning platform that provides courses that helps founders build their capacity. We also have, we do tons of webinars, SME workshops, and so on. So I think I will stop there. Hope that has been comprehensive.
Very, very. Thank you so much. Now, so with all of these things you've said, I mean, it's a huge one. It's a big company, and I'm just thinking. I'm sure that our participants are also thinking, like, how did you, come about this idea? Like, yes, you talked about you being an MBA student, and then you were thinking, oh, what can you do? What can you do? So how did you even come about the idea? How did you know, okay, that this is what you want to do? What led you to that point where you felt that conviction in your heart that, okay, this is what you want to do?
Great question. All right, so I think first of all, I'll again, because this is a faith-based program, so I won't just talk about it from the intellectual point of view. If I may, I'll also talk about the spiritual aspect of things as well, and use that to drive my point home. So let's start with my career generally. I see my work as a platform for serving God. And so I've always sought his direction, I've always sought his inspiration, I've always sought his will, and tried to work with him step by step in everything I'm doing. So right after I graduated school, I served in Abuja, and a friend of mine introduced me to the US Embassy. They had a program for high achieving Nigerian graduates trying to further their career. And one of the first things they told me, I joined the program, and one of the first things they told me to do was to create a statement of purpose. So that was a pivotal moment for me, because rather than, just taking any job or just doing anything because it came around, it actually gave me the opportunity to ask myself, what do you want to achieve in your career? And of course, that led me to the Bible. I did some soul searching and reflection, and I came across some Bible verses, Matthew 10, 5-15, Mark 6, 7-13, and Luke 9, 1-6, where our Lord was sending the apostles out on mission. And I think his words were, the kingdom, as you go preach preach this message: the kingdom of heaven is near. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, drive out demons. Freely you have received, freely give. So, of course, I now try to relate that to my career, and I asked myself, okay, if God were to send me out on a mission, so to speak, to an industry, where would He send me? And so I came up with the idea of public sector change, because obviously in Nigeria, one industry that is struggling with a lot of corruption, dysfunction, and malfunction is the public sector. So I decided to do start by working with the public sector. I did some work with EFC. I served with EFCC, and we did some public sector awareness work. My first job after NYSC was investment banking. It paid well, but deep down in my heart, I still wanted to, do the transformation work that had been driving me from the beginning. So when I learned that Accenture was working on the Vision 2020 project, I applied, and I got selected. And I then moved to Accenture. So working in Accenture was a defining moment for me. The motto, if you go on, like Accenture, in case for those of you that don't know, it's a global management consulting firm. I think at the time I worked there was the largest consulting firm in the world. Had offices in almost every country globally, and their motto is "Let there be change." So they're big on change, transformation, improving the world. That's even the motto, to improve the way the world works and lives. So I am happy to say, while I was working at Accenture, I was able to change. I was able to explore three elements of change. So first is personal change, then organizational change, and then social change. So how did I explore personal change? I changed my faith, my denomination. I was born Protestant, but I learned more about the Catholic Church through some of my colleagues while I was at Accenture. Then I converted to Catholicism. So that's personal change. Organizational change. I began to learn how I took a certification from South Africa called the ProSci Change Management Certification. And I became what we call an organizational change agent. So, currently today I sit on the board of the Global Association of Change Managers, and all that. So I learned how to transform organizations. And then social change, that now brought me to my vision of public sector change, and which my skills as a change agent helped me to achieve. I worked with the FIRS on some public sector transformation, tax transformation, and all that. So, in a nutshell, my time in Accenture was very impactful, but of course, every good thing comes to an end. I realized that if I wanted to specialize as a change agent or as a change manager, I would have to leave and take my career in my own hands. So I left in 2013, 10 years ago. I left paid employment 2013 to be self-employed. So my first client was Nigeria LNG. And while I was there, I now embarked on a lot of soul searching. So I was like, okay, God, I've left paid employment. Almost like, and I left paid employment at a very young age, under 30. And just like, King Solomon, when he became king, he was like, I need wisdom. So I realized that being an entrepreneur or being self-employed is more than just, it required more knowledge than I gained in self-employment. So I asked God to give me the wisdom to chart my path going forward. And as part of that prayer, I believe God led me to do my MBA at Lagos Business School. I prayed about it, and in my usual, and again, just like what happened to me during my NYSC, at this time I was led to a scripture, Matthew 13:45-46, that talks about the parable of the pearl, that says the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant searching for fine pearls. When he finds one of great price, he sold all he had and he bought it. So I saw the MBA as a pearl, a pearl of great price, like a treasure, because it would give me the knowledge and skills and that I needed to chart my path forward. So I enrolled for the MBA and while incorporating my company at the same time. So I started in 2016 and went for it. So okay, I think that in a nutshell, that's how my that's how I was able to move from being an employee to essentially being an entrepreneur and positioning myself for what would eventually become Clears Africa.
Wow, that's interesting. So you left paid employment to being self-employed. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering, at that transition period, were you not afraid? Because I mean, you worked with a very big company, and I'm sure you were receiving very good salary, and now you said no, it's time to venture fully into entrepreneurship. Were you not afraid of how you were going to survive as a self-employed individual?
Well, I would say I was afraid because as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to take risks, but the risk should be calculated risk. So you need to take risks with a lot of insight and wisdom. So I wouldn't say I was afraid, but I was definitely conscious of the weight of the responsibility of running a company. And I let that consciousness push me to do my MBA. So the MBA was like my strategy, to help me flesh out the company, design a business plan, strategize, and carve out a niche. So I won't say I was afraid, but I knew it was a huge responsibility, and that was what led me to do my MBA. So I would advise, anyone start anyway. Don't worry, we'll talk about my framework later. But essentially the first step for me, if you're trying to start a company or you're going to be an entrepreneur, is to equip yourself with the required skills and acumen. You don't have to quit your job. I mean, the LBS MBA is actually very expensive now. It's 12 million. At the time it was age raise 12 million, right? Yes, at the time I did the MBA, this was about what 8 years ago. It was 5.1. It was still a lot of money given the economy then, but not everybody has that. So, I mean, if you can get an MBA or advanced education, perfect, go for it. If you can't, there's so much knowledge online. Like you really have no excuse. There's Coursera. I took a whole specialization from the University of Pennsylvania. That's Watson Business School on entrepreneurship. And you can even do it for free. You can apply for financial aid, just telling me you're from a developing country and explain your situation. So there's no excuse. Before I don't recommend people jumping in blind. So and also I also don't recommend that you should be petrified by fear, so much so that you're like, I can't leave my salary because I don't know what to do. So rather than being afraid, equip yourself, take assessments, find out what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses as an entrepreneur, and then seek education or knowledge or courses to close those gaps. Yeah. So that's what I would recommend.
That's very true. I mean, education is key. One cannot afford to jump into something as huge as entrepreneurship blindly. It's going to be fatal. So I'm just thinking now, did you experience any challenges, as especially in the early years, when you started the business? Were there any challenges, and how? Maybe you could just share like one because of time constraints. Maybe you could just share one and just tell us how you were able to overcome such challenge.
Okay, so my first challenge was building my client base, obviously acquiring my first few clients because I didn't have a track record in the SME. Like I said, most of my work had been with large organizations. I didn't have a track record with SMEs, and to solve it, I leveraged my network. So I was blessed. Again, my strategy professor during my MBA at the time was the chairman of Diamond Bank, and so I shot him an email and I was like, so I have this business idea I'm starting, this is what we want to do. And he was magnanimous enough to share my proposal with the bank. And of course, you know how banks are very hierarchical. Anything that comes from the top, they have to accept it. So they invited me in for a talk, we struck up a partnership, and from that bank, okay, they eventually got acquired by Access. So that's how I'm with Access today, then Keystone, then Wema, then UBA, and it grew from there. So yeah, I think so. What I would recommend, when you're trying to build your client base, networking, is key. Leverage your personal contacts. If you don't have the network, you can offer some initial services at a discounted rate or even pro bono so that you can gain testimonials and case studies on how good your work is. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, well, for someone like myself, as well as our participants here would like to learn from you, considering that you are a professor.
Not
You
yet,
know,
still just a lowly
yeah,
doctor.
well, we know that you will get there with all of this experience, right? Could you please teach us, just share with us, how do we begin for those of us who are considering entrepreneurship, starting a business? And of course, everybody wants to succeed in any business endeavor. So how do we begin? How do we grow? How do we sustain the business? Just we're at your do I say we're at your mercy? Just share with us, how we can start and run a business and succeed in any business endeavor from the very beginning.
Great stuff.
If you
Thanks for
have
the
a slide,
question.
please, if you have a slide, please share your slide with us and take us
Okay.
through. Thank you.
Okay, well, okay, so I will share the slide, but I also I want to start by saying, I mean, I think the timing of the webinar couldn't be great, couldn't be better. I couldn't have come at a better time because I have one project I worked on during this Christmas vacation was creating a you know was okay, I just finished my PhD, and I got challenged by an article I read, which says that, Africa has so many intellectuals and they're not doing anything, or they're doing very little to change the condition of the society. So I decided to create a course for my PhD research, something I could offer to aspiring entrepreneurs to help them build their entrepreneurial acumen. And I'm happy to share that with you. I'll give you the acronym for the process. So you asked for a process if you're just starting a business. So the acronym is IMPACT. Anyone that starts a business should always have impact at the back of their mind, and not just making money. Because when you make impact, money comes. But if you're only chasing money, then your business may not be sustainable at the end of the day. So the first thing you need to do is identify the first I. So I stands for identify the opportunity. You need to be able to identify an opportunity. I'll tell you how to do that. Second is Second is M, which is marketing the unique solution. So once you've identified an opportunity and you created it, then you need to brand it, create it, and then take it to market. So that's marketing the unique solution. Then number 3 is P, pull together the dream team. I'm posting it in the chat. So number 3 is pull together the dream team. Obviously, as a business grows, you can't do everything yourself. So you need to hire. And so you need to pull together a great team. Then the next the next stage of the process is aligning with strategic partners. Again, SMEs are limited by resources and they can't do everything themselves. So in as much as you have an internal team, you also need to have an external team of people supporting you. So that's aligning with strategic partners. The fifth thing you need to do is, as you grow, then you celebrate growth. So that that's where your marketing comes in, your customer service and all that. And then finally, tell the vision of the future. So that this has to do with strategizing for the future and then moving to the next level. So I'll take all of these one by one. So it's impact, like I said, identify the opportunity. M is for market the unique solution. P is for pulling together the dream team. A is for aligning with strategic partners. C is for celebrating growth, and then T is for telling the vision of the future. So when you're trying to, I'll just run through them briefly. But also, if you would like, let me just quickly add now. If you'd like to be on the wait list, because I'm launching the course in early January. So if you'd like to learn more about this program or course, or you even just need, if you even want to shoot me an email and then brainstorm on your entrepreneurial venture, which I'll be happy to. I put the link in the chat, so you can just put in your name and email, and then I will reach out to you once it's ready. So, Adrian, how long do we have for me to talk about this? My My process, I could talk about for the next 5 hours, but you just let me know how long we have. 5 minutes, right?
We can
You're
do 10
muted. Okay. Uh-huh.
minutes.
You
So we
said,
can do 10 minutes. And so we can do 10 minutes.
okay, great. All right. So identifying the opportunity. Like I said, the first thing is to ensure that you even have an entrepreneur. You have what it takes to be an entrepreneur, and that involves a lot of introspection and self assessment. So there's some entrepreneurial assessments you can take online. That will be like the first thing. Let me send you it. I'll post the link so I can quickly post. Okay, I may not be able to post the link in the chat now because of time. But if you fill out the form, I'll share it with you. So um yeah, so you need to evaluate your entrepreneurial profile. Ask yourself, do you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? Entrepreneurs are achievers, they are autonomous, they are self-starters, they are goal-getters. Fortunately, unfortunately, you don't always get to build all these skills in paid employment. So you may have to come up with a capacity building plan, take courses, like I said earlier, and just go on and build your acumen. There are soft skills, entrepreneurial soft skills, and also hard skills as well. The soft skills of being an entrepreneur include goal setting. Entrepreneurs are goal setters, innovation, communication, and so on. Hard skills are, of course, accounting, business law, personal finance. So there's a lot involved in being an entrepreneur, and you set aside the required time to grow these skills. Because, like I said, they're not all things that are taught in school. Then, as you're building your entrepreneurial acumen, you need to scan your environment. Be environmentally sensitive. Look at the political environment, look at technology. Okay, let me give you an example. Can anyone tell me what's one technological advancement that has shaken the world in the past 6 months? Anybody? You can type it in the chat or you can raise your hand if you want to respond. Okay. AI, perfect. Oh, don't worry. Thank you very much. So yeah, thanks, Rapture. AI. So AI has, revolutionized the society, blockchain, machine learning, data science. You need to understand all these things and ask yourself, how is it relevant to you? What can you do with it? How can you use it to solve a problem? So look at the political environment, look at the economic environment, look at the social environment, like I said, technology and all that. And then try and solve a problem. Find a way that your business solves a problem or find a gap in the marketplace. So when you have this gap, then you now have to develop the idea. Of course, you can have so many ideas, to be honest, almost sometimes every day you come up and you have five different ideas, but you now have to ask yourself, what's my mission? Tie whatever idea, select the idea that aligns most closely to your mission. There's something called ikigai. It's a Japanese term that you can use to find out what is like your personal mission or what's your purpose. So once you find out what that purpose is, and of course, definitely as a Christian, you have to pray about it as well. Once you hit on the right idea, then the first few things you should do, create like a business model canvas and then a financial model to be sure that business is going to be profitable, because not every business idea is a business opportunity, right? You have to make sure that the business is something that is financially viable, that can make money. So that's for identifying the opportunity. So having identified the opportunity, then you now need to create a solution. The first step in creating a solution is obviously to define your brand. My course will show you there are 12 different types of brands. So brand personalities. When you think of a brand like a leader brand, you think of Rolex, think of Mercedes-Benz, you think of Microsoft. When you think of a lover brand, you think of Victoria's Secret, think of Beyonce. When you think of an everyman brand, think of Chicken Republic, general things. So you need to ask yourself, what is the personality of this company that I'm going to build? That is your brand archetype. And then you develop your product. So if it's a software, you build it. If it's an e-commerce store, put it together. If it's an app, you build it, whatever. At this stage, you may have the money. If you have the money, hire a developer, you can outsource to a developer or an agency. If you don't have the money, you may have to get what we call a technical co-founder. So like a programmer that can help you build this product. Of course, if you can build it yourself, all the better. Just go and develop your product. This product is called an MVP, minimum viable product. So when you develop it, you have to test it and then launch it. There are two types of launches. There's a product launch, which is just to like a limited group of people. And then there's a market launch, which is when you now, go to town, get influencers, go to the papers, go to the press, make a lot of noise. But you need to stage your launch. Don't just launch boldly from the beginning. Start with a product launch first. So after you've launched and you start getting your first users, then you need to start pulling together your team. Of course, at this stage, you need a lawyer, you need an accountant, probably need some advisors. Then you transition from being just a one-man business to a leader. So at this point, you have to start building leadership skills. There's so many of them: delegation, conflict management, motivation, empowerment, and so on. So you develop your skills to be able to lead people and inspire them to achieve your goals. You also need to look at strategic partnerships. Cleos wouldn't be where we are today without our strategic partners. One of our partners, I won't mention who, got a mandate with the Office of the Vice President to train 4 million Nigerian youth in 4 years. And they want Cleos to work on that project. Imagine, as a startup, most likely we won't have the reach to reach 4 million people in 4 years. But because of our partners are large, they've captured that demographic or that market, and they've brought it to us at on a platter of gold. On a platter of gold. So it's important for you to have strategic partners. They also give you credibility, because I mean, you may not have heard of Cleos, but head of Access, head of Wema, you head of I don't know, Google, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. So when you piggyback on those kind of brands, you get a lot of visibility. So you have to do that. Then, of course, with your partnerships and your team, you start having to refine your marketing message. Move from just creating a buzz, convert your buzz into buyers. Because as a business, you can't just be existing for the sake of creating a buzz. You need to convert that buzz to buyers and make money. So you can use social media, email, podcasting, webinars. There are a ton of marketing methods you can use. And then, never forgetting that as an entrepreneur, you're the chief visionary. So you always need to have a strategy. How are you going to grow? Are you going to take equity? Are you going to go the venture capital route? Are you taking equity funding? Are you going to take a loan? Are you going the crowdfunding route? Whatever it is, you might even want to keep on bootstrapping. Some companies are bootstrapped to being a unicorn. A unicorn is a company that's worth $1 billion. But whatever your decision is, you need to have a clear vision of how you're going to achieve that. So, and then, what you notice is that this is a cycle. So even though I've ended on vision of the future, when you have a vision of the future, there's no way it won't lead you to an opportunity. So maybe the opportunity will be to expand to a new location, go to a new country, go to a new, and then, opportunity, you now start the cycle all over again. So it never ends, never ends. You just keep on going through. It's a virtuous cycle. And at the end of the day, to be able to achieve your entrepreneurial dreams. So like I said, if you want more details about this, when it launches, like a roadmap or a PDF that summarizes this, or access to the course, I put a link in the chat, so you can just put in your name and your email, and then I will be in touch. Okay, Ejira, I think I made it 10 minutes.
Wow, thank you so much. Yes, you did. Thank you so much. You have really said a lot about starting a business and what you have to do, what you need to know, and also emphasizing the importance of education in all of this. So to our wonderful participants here, please feel free to ask questions, drop your questions in the chat, and we will read them out so that Dr. Glory can answer the questions. There's one question for you. The question is that, yeah, so it was private chat. The question is that you said a lot about the impact acronym. So the question is, is there a time frame, or do you attach timelines, to all of this? The acronym, the impact acronym, is which we would consider as stages in, you know, starting the business, developing the business idea, and all of that. So do we have timelines? So all of them just have to happen within a certain period?
Well, so the answer to that question is just like asking me how long is a string? Yes. So if I were to ask you how long is a string could be as long as you want, or it could be as short as you want, right? So this cycle, I think it depends really on the kind of business you're trying to start. If it's so you start with identifying the opportunity, maybe you start learning, you start scanning your environment. The learning could take as long like I said, it depends on your in your unique circumstances. So I wouldn't say there's a timeline to it. Everything depends on it's real life. It's not theory. Yes. So I think it's only in the ideal world that someone will be able to come and say, if you follow my process, in the next 1 year, you'll be making $1 million. I wish I could say that. But sometimes life happens, life doesn't always work out. God forbid, supposing you're in the middle of this impact framework and maybe you lose a loved one, and for the next 3 months, you don't even want to discuss anything that even has to do with, you don't want to see anybody, not talking about impact theory. So obviously that setback is going to have an impact on your business, um or on the flip side, God forbid, again, you might be in the middle of the process, and maybe, God forbid, you're retrenched from your job. That now inspires you to work on it faster. So if you were working on it 1 hour a day you now have 8 hours a day to work on it, and definitely you get faster results. So I would just say it's a process that if you follow, you can get your first product up in as little as 2 or 3 months. And if you're not, depending on the circumstances, it might also take longer. So there's no particular timeline. But if you work, that's the benefit of working with someone like me as a coach, for example. We will give you the content, and then we'll now work with you to implement. Because the important thing in starting a business is implementation. You can sit and say, I want to get all the knowledge, to get all the skills. Until you move, nothing gets done. And as I say, done is better than perfect. So it's better to just get something done rather than waiting for the perfect time may never come. So to answer your question, there's no particular timeline, but it just depends on how quickly you can implement and what your personal circumstances are. Okay, Ugochi says, is it possible to have, okay, Adriel, do you want to read it out?
You can go ahead.
Okay, she says, is it possible to have a group of 4 entrepreneurs that would love to work to grow, holding one another accountable? So I think that's a great idea. We could even have, don't worry, Ugochi, I'll chat you up. We could even have more than 4. We could have, although, okay, 4 is a manageable number. But I do believe that, having accountability partners and working in groups just makes you achieve things faster. So again, if you reach out, if you sign up, or even you can send myself or Ejuru a personal message, and then, if you're interested in this Ugochi's particular request to join this group, accountability group, then you can reach out, and we'll make that happen. Yeah.
Ugochi, did that answer your question? Are you okay with that, or you need more details? You can give a thumbs up.
Or if there's anybody on the group that on the call, like you have a business idea and you want to start, you can just indicate. Okay, you can put in the chat, I'm in, or something, and then after the call, we'll regroup and plan how to make 2015 the year that we actualize our business dreams. So that's another option. So if anybody is interested, can just send me a private message or Ejuru, and then we can put this group together. Okay, Ugochi says she can't unmute.
Okay, I think Glory understands where I'm coming from. We'll take it off from the private chat. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good, Ejuru, I'm good.
That's fine. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so I don't know if anyone else has questions for Glory. You
Okay,
can drop your question in the
okay.
chat, or you can indicate by raising your hands, and we can allow you speak if you'd prefer that.
A few
Okay.
people are reaching out to me in the private chats that they have business ideas. So maybe some of us are shy.
Oh, wow. Even I have tons of business ideas, and I was just about to ask you because you said something. You said not all ideas are business
Opportunities.
ideas or
Opportunities.
opportunities. Okay, great. Not all ideas are opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that is where most of us, we miss it because we think that, oh, I've got this idea and they just want to launch out, and then within the first few months, that idea or the business dies. So I don't know, is there a certain framework out there that can help us to check whether a certain idea is an opportunity?
Yeah, so it's called, thanks for the question. It's called feasibility analysis, right? So feasibility, that's like you do like when you get your idea, you have to do like a feasibility study. So you start with the product or service. Again, if you sign up for my wait list, this is part of the stuff that we have on the course, but I'll just give you a summary now. So it has to be feasible. The product or service has to be feasible, meaning it needs to make sense. It needs to be something that is required. It needs to be something there's a demand for. Then there has to be your industry. It has to be a good industry, that you're moving in. So you need to do the feasibility study on the industry. Then you need to do a feasibility study on the finances. So you need to create like a financial model or test your assumptions and then see how viable the business idea is. And then you need to do a feasibility study on yourself. So do you have the skills? Do you have the resources? Do you have what it takes, or do you need a partner? So this is, in a nutshell, to answer what you need to do in order to turn a good a business idea into, to determine whether a business idea has legs or whether it's a good opportunity before you start investing too much of your time and energy into it, is to do a feasibility analysis. So that's the summary. That's the summary answer.
Perfect. I think Ugochi asked another question. Let's see. I don't know if you got that. He said, "What if?" Uh,
Is it Ugochi, are you pulling my legs? I do want to unmute and ask the full question.
Okay, so the question is, like you said, you have to find your purpose, you have to find your dream, you have to find what makes you tick and pray about it. But then you're looking at this and you're thinking that, okay, this thing is not bringing in money. You know, how are you able to match this to bringing in your purpose and making money out of it? Because sometimes these things don't make money. And I'm also aware that there are some people who start up some businesses which, I'm sorry, I'm in a public bus, so I'm a bit hush hush.
Okay.
And then there are some people who start up some opportunities which seem not to have any feasibility, but at some point, this thing begins to make sense at some point. I remember the story of Steve Jobs, where people thought he was crazy. There was no need for an iPhone because there was a lot of phones. There was Nokia, there was Samsung, there were great phones. People were wondering, why would you want to buy that? But he was building based on, I think it was, I can't remember what it's called, like when people want to build on some kind of brands that are different. And people said you were not going to buy. I mean, you're making something out of this world and nobody needs it. But he continued to, to do this business. And eventually, right now, if you don't have an Apple, it's like you're not part of the world. But before that started, it looks like he was criticized. He was told that that doesn't make sense. He was told that that brand he was building doesn't make sense. So And sometimes it feels like, okay, this thing looks like it looks like your purpose. You feel very confident in your purpose, but then you're not seeing the feasibility or the income or the place you make money, because it's e-commerce didn't start today. Some people started it, and at some point people were thinking, oh, not so many people have internet and all that. So how are we able to reconcile all of this?
Okay, so thanks for the question. Uh I think as long as if your passion, which is one reason why I recommend the Ikigai framework. Your passion can't just, if your purpose has to be beyond, has to go beyond just something that makes you happy, you know. If it's just something that makes you happy, it's a hobby. But if it's something that makes you happy and meets the needs of other people, so that's what now moves it from being a hobby to being a business. And in this day and age, my dear, you'll be surprised. People make money from the strangest of things. There's a lady that teaches people how to. So in this, there's a lady that teaches people how to pose. That's her hobby, posing. Like posing to take pictures. I kid you not. She has 1 million followers on Instagram. Her courses clean out. Like her courses go for like $300, which is in current economy. 300,000 naira. And imagine 300,000. Imagine 1 million people paying you 300,000 naira. Imagine even 1% of 1 million people paying you 300,000 naira. So on the surface, it sounds ridiculous. I should pay, teaching me how to pose, but you'll be surprised she has been able to monetize it. So what I'll say is that if you have something, a business idea you're passionate about, then you have to find a way to create value for people. And that value creation, so you have to find a way to make it create value for people. That moves it from being just a hobby to something that could be a sustainable business. Then you now have to find a way to deliver that value, and then you have to find a way to capture the value that you've created. In capturing the value you've created, you may need to get mentors or look at your competition or look at people that have been able to monetize that business model. So again, to give another example, I was listening to a podcast the other day. There's this thought leader in the US. His name is Brendan Burchard. He used to work in Accenture like me, was a 9 to 5er. And then one day he had an accident, and then he felt he wasn't ready to die yet, that God let him live because there was a purpose for his life. And he felt that purpose was to motivate people and help them ask themselves 3 questions. Did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? That was it. From his accident, he came across something that he thought was his purpose. And then he did a crazy thing. He resigned from Accenture to pursue this purpose. And people thought, are you crazy? Like, how would you leave a Fortune 500 company just to go out on a whim? But he was determined. He said, I have to make this thing work. So for the first 18 months, he didn't make any money. He was just learning. He said his girlfriend was paying his bills, At the point, he just looked like just the craziest, the craziest person. But he kept on learning and learning. And before he knew it, he made his first million alone. Oh, when he first made his first $1 million, he didn't have employees. It was just him working. Made his first million. Today, he's a New York Times best-selling author several times. He's been on Oprah. Oprah even calls him one of the world's greatest motivational trainers. He has worked with millions of people around the world. He teaches them how to monetize their passions and make money from it. This is someone that just quit his job, out of a desire to pursue his passion. So what I would just say is, it may not be easy, and it may seem, like you said, a bit outlandish at the beginning, but with the right support, at least he had his girlfriend to be paying his bills. With the right support, for someone else that's trying to, bring birth their passion, it could be an accountability group. I already have a few for us. I already have a few people that have reached out. Go to, we have our 4 people. Just by the way, we have our 4 people. People have reached out to me that they're interested in being part of this accountability group. So if you have support, if you have resources, I believe there's nothing you can't do, as long as you're determined and you have the drive and you're convinced that this is really what God wants you to do with your life. I believe that anything is possible. I believe anything is possible. So, okay, yes, whoop whoop. I saw your response. Yes, so we have a group and beautiful things to start from here. Ejiro, before you know it, next year we're giving we have a few more entrepreneurs talk about how they were inspired by attending this webinar and they went out to pursue their dreams and they're on their way to be living a fulfilled life. So you never really know. Great things start from small beginnings.
Yes, yes, and I'll be so delighted to hear that. So, in fact, you've done justice to this. Thank you so much. And a big thank you to all of our participants who have joined and to those who have indicated interest in joining the group. So, just for the sake of some of us that just joined, maybe you can just talk about that group very quickly again. What's that group all about? Because some of us might still be interested in it. Maybe
Okay,
you have
so
a group of people.
yes, it came out. So I mean, before you joined, I shared I spoke about my entrepreneurial journey, how I transitioned from being an employee to being self-employed to running my own business. And then what you said is a secret service group. And then if you and then I shared my framework, my process for moving from having nothing on ground. If you want to start a business, moving from having nothing to having a growing, thriving, successful business. And then I put a link in the chat. Let me reshare the link now. That I encourage you that if you want to learn more, I have a course coming out, like a coaching program coming out on this framework. It's called the impact framework. I identify opportunity, and market the unique solution, people together the dream team, A, align with strategic partners, C, celebrate growth, and T, tell the vision of the future. So when you follow that framework, you will definitely have a successful business at the end of the day. So some people such as Gucci indicated interest and said anyone that wants to support, if we want to support each other to actualize our dreams in the coming year. And we have an accountability group of like 4 people. And for we have our group more or less. People have reached out privately. So if you're still interested in, if you have an idea or a business opportunity you want to pursue and you want support, you want like-minded individuals, that want to do something serious in 2014, then you can reach out to me privately or can send a message to Ejiro, and then we shall constitute the group ASAP as soon as the webinar is over. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. That was a good summary of all that we've discussed today. I wish we could go on and on, but unfortunately, we'll have to bring this webinar to an end. So thank you so much. I am sure that our audience here have learned a lot, because I too have learned a lot from this webinar. So thank you so much for sharing. And to our participants, thank you so much for joining us. It is a great privilege for me to have you here. I really appreciate your presence. This webinar is being recorded, and after now, it will be uploaded on our YouTube platform. Remember, at the beginning, I talked about our YouTube platform, The Life of a Christian with Ejiro Ikpogbe. So you can go to YouTube and search for it, or you can get the link. I will drop the link as well on the chat. But it's very easy to find on YouTube. We will upload the recording from this webinar there so that you can go there and watch it. But those of us who have also indicated interest in joining the group, you'll be contacted and conversations will continue from there. So thank you so much. Thank you, Glory. Thank you to our wonderful audience. Have a pleasant evening.
Right. Bye,
Bye for
Ejiro.
now.
Bye, everyone. Bye.